Hi, I'm Meher Malik. I'm 20 years old and I've lived in India for the past 2 years. Before that, I lived in Oman for about 17 years. I've actually been dancing since I was 6. So I started with Bharatanatyam, went on to doing jazz and a little hip hop. So when I came down to India and I saw there was so much opportunity to dance, I decided that studying was not what I wanted to do. And I told my parents and I was like, okay, I go to college, but what's the point of, going to college and not giving it your best? Because if you're really dancing most of the time, there's no point actually going to college. I actually am the director of a company called Banjara. We're a belly dancing school that the company has just been established 3 months back. But I myself have been teaching belly dancing in Delhi for about 2 years now. So we are promoting belly dancing, also other Egyptian Middle Eastern dance forms. We believe in promoting dance forms that are characteristically feminine, powerful. So we're not exactly targeting a male market. We're targeting a class where women can come and really, do their own thing, have their own space and time, So it's very women-centric. The organization is very women-centric. We have about 200 students now, running out of 11 batches in 7 centers. So we have a batch in GK1, GK2, Model Town, 2 batches in Gurgaon, Vasant Kunj, Panchshir, starting at Pusa Road very soon. So we have a lot of branches, about 8 instructors for the company right now. So we're in the process of recruiting new people for the company. This belly dancing as a dance form has to go through a lot of, we've gone through a lot of, obstacles. Because India is a very narrow-minded country. So being that dance form, people have a lot of things to think about it. So the hardest job is basically to promote it as a classical dance form, because to change the way people think, I think, is the most difficult aspect of them all. Once people start looking at something professionally, I think that's when the whole attitude changes. So yes, there is a lot of improvement in the way people are looking at it. We are encouraging younger girls, we are encouraging older women, because it's one dance form that doesn't mandate you to start at a particular age. We have stories of women who started like at 35, who had established careers and things like that, but then they decided that this is what they wanted to do. So they got out of their zones, and 35, 40, they started belly dancing, and now they're 60 and they're belly dancing. They have their own schools in London or US or, So it is being recognized in a country like India, but it is going to take some time. When you start a company, you obviously are thinking about what kind of expenditures you have to put in it. Firstly, I think the advertising thing has been taken care of to a very large extent, because when I call a company, when I'm calling a newspaper or a radio station to cover something, they do it for free. So I don't have any advertising expenditures as of now. But whereas, compared to the 7 centers and the rent, what happens is you have a particular amount of rent that you need to pay to the company, which is mostly about 50% of whatever you make from the dance classes, which is a lot of money actually that goes in, because in GK studios like GK, which we have classes going on for about 2 months, we're giving rent of about a lakh and a half, because we have a lot of students there. So it totally depends on how, as many students, even if we have 10 students somewhere, we're only giving 50% of whatever we make. So we're not going into a loss anywhere. So we're only giving 50% of whatever we earn. So that's kind of a good arrangement, because even if you have 2 students, you give 50% of that. Even if but when you have like 100 students and you're giving 50% of that, that's where it kind of hurts you a little bit, because that's, the work is yours, but then they're taking a lot of money from you. But I think this whole attitude will change when we have a main office of our own. So right now we're functioning out of a lot of studios. We're functioning out of dance studios, we're functioning out of gyms, we're functioning out of cultural centers. So once we have our own main office, I think this whole aspect of paying rent to people is probably going to drop it down a notch, because that's where the main activities are going to be happening. In a country like India, most people actually just go to college to get into. Nobody gets out of their box to do something that is, extraordinary. Everybody is just, okay, they do a bachelor's degree, then they go to MBA, then they just study, they get into some business industry, or they become doctors, or, not a lot of people are breaking out to go do their own things, which I think we need, because if you see in any of the Western countries or in Europe or even in China today, there are people who are getting out of their own zones, a comfort zone, to get out of and do something that is their own thing. Dancing, singing, technology, art, it's something that people are getting out and doing. Only in India, I think it's something that is not being pursued as much as it should be, because I think there's a lot of talent in this country. We just need to get out of that whole zone of, oh, I need to be a doctor, or I need to be an accountant, or I need to be an engineer. So I mean, it is changing, but then I think a lot of institutes need to, promote this attitude of entrepreneurship.